Ooh, it's been a minute since I've gone live. Sorry for our stream today. Might be a little clunky because I'm used to using different softwares. Sorry for the delay, but we're coming live on YouTube today. Yeah, eventually we're gonna get this a lot more streamlined. Just right now, it's building the plane as we're flying it, right? So a lot of stuff learning as we're moving. But anyway, lots happened in the past month and a half, specifically in film, and a lot of lessons learned, a lot of good stuff that's going on. Of course, those who've been following the project for the Hive, we're moving into our post production side of things. So obviously, that's very very exciting. But yeah, I got a lot to share, a lot to do here for our this channel, as well as, like I said, we're moving forward with a lot of things. We actually have we're in the process of building our first trailer, so really really exciting stuff coming for that. We're starting to get our VFX team together, and starting to move into things like sound design as well as music for the trailer. And then of course we're going to be speed running into our editing process for the film. So the goal is to ideally have this film completed by the end of the year. I'm sorry, or by I mean, original goal was by September, but things have changed. So I'm hoping that we can get it done by September, because there's a few things that of course, we want to apply to. We want to get this film out to as many people as possible, and to many markets as possible too. So, ultimately, there's a lot of things that we are looking to get done, specifically in terms of like the marketing process, distribution, as well as there's uh, well, should probably hold off on mentioning this, but I'll mention it here. Our focus, the focus here at Diamond Night Studios, is a little bit different from the traditional approach of going to festivals, things like that. The idea for Diamond Night Studios is we focus on IP. We focus on trying to create something that is so big enough that people can also join in on the in the story. And so with that comes a level of the concept has to be big enough, first of all, and then of course there has to be a level of structure in terms of, like, of course, and not anybody can just take the story and run with it. But if someone wants to take the story into a franchisable level, that we can actually do something similar to that and create an arrangement that works for everybody. But that's not the topic for today. Today the topic is more about why film producers must be conservative with their projects, and why that matters a lot, specifically as a producer. Because coming into project, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of structure, a lot of planning, a lot of things that has to happen to keep it move. And by no means have I learned everything, and I'm still learning as I'm moving. But I'm learning that the reality of why being conservative with your projects matters so much, because of the market we're in. So yeah, a lot of cool things that I want to go through, particularly in this stream, and talk about, and get out to the channel and some experiences that I've learned things on set. In the past couple of shoots. We got our next shoot coming up soon, so I'm really excited about that to finish the project. And then the plans after this film, ultimately, we have a couple more projects in the pipeline. The next one, of course, The Death and the Maiden is I'm really excited to get in that one because that one's even bigger concept than the one we're working on right now. So so I'm excited to tell a little bit about that story, a little bit about what we're planning for that, and also what we're planning for the film. We're actually working on our first film that we're hoping to have commissioned for a specific venture, which we'll kind of get into the details of that too. But yeah, lots happened in the past couple of months. So yeah, so going back to the topic, why um, film producers must be conservative with their projects. Of course, as film producers, a lot of people come on our projects. A lot of people, come, go. Things go right, things go wrong. But you know as you're moving, um, understanding the need and why becoming callous becomes, you know, film industry. Obviously, the people in the industry know how tough this business is in general, and why film producers. Film producers have to run with different mindsets than most people in the who are actually, working in BTL positions on set. Because a lot of times there's the business side, and then there's the creative side, and then you have different types of producers: creative, executive, line, um, associate producers who have different roles. But why that role is so critical is because it is the realization of the film. Obviously, people who work in film know how important the production side of things works. And, obviously, working in indie film and, without studio backing, it makes it even more difficult sometimes because, of course, we don't have the resources as big studios have. So it's even more imperative to know how to make things happen when things are going wrong, because obviously producers are putting out a lot of fires, as I imagine a lot of producers who can relate with that understand that it's not as simple as just setting up a camera sometimes and just calling action on set. um, Things happen weeks before production, things happen days before production, and being able to be someone who can navigate that. And someone used the analogy, of course, the captain in the ship, which I think is very, 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 very fitting. To some degree, but I don't view the producer position, of course, as the captain. I figure that's more of the director. I would say, of course, in the structure of things, the producer is more like is not the captain, but more like the admiral in a lot of situations, because again, they're navigating where resources are going, and obviously, uh, you know. That rolls into the idea why producers must be conservative with their projects, because sometimes unfortunately you encounter people who are just shared to get what they can out of the project, and that I think that's fine to a degree, because of course all of it is business, and sometimes you have to realize with business is that it is it's there's a mutual um benefit from both sides, then there's no problem with being used. Like, the production's being used to help other people enhance their careers, to get credits, and then also the production is using their talents to advance the project. And I think that there, to some degree, there is a level of you know mutual alignment there. The issue becomes, of course, when people start taking advantage of each other, which is why I think this topic is so important, because of obviously we live in a world with a lot of indie productions, and by all means, I think a lot of indie productions should do better with this. Even studio production. Real honestly, especially bigger studios that have the resources to actually support the crew members and people who are doing the work in BTL positions, and who are just trying to save as much as money as possible. Which, of course, in our economy, I get it. Trying to keep a business afloat is not an easy thing, and you have to have a level of realism and understanding that, unfortunately, the production has limitations too. And that being said, just because a production has limitations, just because it doesn't have an ideal budget, does not mean that a production cannot be done. And I think that's the line that sometimes that um BTL positions don't understand, is because sometimes you have to do things that are unorthodox. Now, I'm not saying that, of course, you should cut corners, that you should, by any means, by no means cut anybody's pay under a certain, I think there should be a level of honesty in terms of it, and that arrangements can be made and things like that, but never in a sense of trying to take advantage of BTL positions, because I think, or at least for my productions, that's the line that I don't cross. Is that I understand there are constraints, and that sometimes that we do have to make decisions, but there's always an arrangement. There's always a means of every person on my crew is paid, and I want to make sure that all positions understand, regardless of how constraint our budget is, that we are going to they're going to get paid for their work. And obviously as a production standpoint, that's a safe point for you too, because of one, terms of rights. I mean, in terms of especially contracting people, you want to make sure that you own the rights to the work that is getting done, meaning somebody's coming on as a DP or is coming on as a doing their work, that there is a clear contract in place telling you that they are being contracted for the work, that they are paying, that they are getting paid, and that they are relinquishing the rights to the work that they've done. So that is very, very, very important, especially as a producer, to have that paperwork in place, because, obviously, I hate to say it, the trust, in this field, you want to I try to go into situations in good faith. Obviously there are situations that don't turn out that well. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Sometimes the bad situations do happen, but going into a situation in good faith, but having that mutual line of paperwork from the beginning also eliminates a level of liability issues in the long run. And so, of course, having a paper trail is always important, as most producers can tell you. But kind of went off in a off on a side trail on that one. But where were we going back to the details on production? Oh yeah, trust. And having a mutual level of trust in a team that you can build together and learn together, and understand that you are there for your team, and you are there for, but you're also there for a bigger, something that's bigger than yourself, something that's also bigger than any individual person on the project, is extremely important as well. And that's why I believe that producers have to be conservative, because you understand, conservative with the project, that is, you have to understand that there is something bigger than just any individual actor, any individual crew member, any individual producer. That this project is bigger than myself. This is something that I am I I am dedicating myself to making this happen, and whatever that means in terms of decision making, that I have to understand that the boat has to keep moving. We have to meet this destination, and I think that's one thing that has kept me driven in regards to this project, because there are a lot of mistakes, a lot of things have changed, a lot of timelines have changed, a lot of people have changed, and at the end of the day, for producers, we understand that it's not about what we tried to do, it's about what we finished. I mean, what's the saying from Star Wars? Do or don't, there is no try. It's very, very real for producers. It's very, very real for producers. And we have to finish projects, and that's how our credibility comes in this industry. And coming closer towards the getting over the hump of the of this project, the Hive. We've been almost 3 years on this project, and this project initially was scheduled to be for 1 year. So there's a lot of mistakes were made by me, and now I'm understanding why those mistakes are so important, because now they've built a level of callous in terms of the situations, and I respect that experience now, and now I respect the what's necessary to get films done. And it's not a matter of being heartless or being cold or being it's a matter of we have to keep moving, and understanding that no matter what you are doing in specifically in the film industry, a lot of people are in the projects for themselves. I mean, that's right. I mean, and I'm not, like I said, there's no hate that comes with that. It's the matter of the truth. And so as a producer, understanding a lot of times the project you have to be in for the best interest of the project, the best interest of getting it done. And in some cases that hurts, because especially when situations come with people that you're close to, and you have to make executive decisions. And it's very, very real. It's very, very real. And I believe that producers, there is a fine line between the road. I'm not saying that producers in general should be cold and be so self-interest that you forget the needs of your crew and the needs of your colleagues, and by no means burning bridges. But yeah, it's really, really important to become conservative with your projects, because of the needs of getting to the destination is the ultimate thing that, in my opinion, advances careers for producers. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of projects that they just fall between the cracks. You stop hearing about them, and then they just fizzle out. And that's what I don't believe. I am in every fiber of my being believe that every project I say I'm going to commit to is going to be finished, and I will get it done, no matter the cost, no matter what I you know personally lose for getting it done. But it will get done. We will find a way to get um, a production on a screen. And understanding that for producers, um, a bad project is better than no project. Obviously, and I'm sure a lot of producers have heard that phrase, that a bad project is better than no project at all, and it is absolutely true. I mean, you can recover from a bad project, but if you are given, of course, in the context of someone trusting you as an investor, uh, having nothing for being, I mean, being believed in the sense of them actually providing resources for you, to the point to where you actually can get a production up, and you don't deliver anything for that level of investment, is really, really uh, problematic. And it's really, really, I mean, I can empathize from the standpoint of an investor why they would be upset in that. And that's why I think, for me as a producer, learning to do it with your own money gives you a level of strength, in terms of that, at the end of the day, when investors trust you, you have to treat it as if it's your own money. Because if you're not willing to treat it as if your own money, and you're going out and throwing money at the wall, why should anybody trust you with their money? No one. I mean, you wouldn't expect it. So, of course, that's what we're working to build here at Diamond Night Studios, is something that is not just a money pit specifically for film, but a new business model, a business model that benefits investors, a business model that benefits below the line crew members, that benefits above the line positions, that helps to to undercut the industry as is right now, because of course, the industry is changing in general. I mean, we have the avant-garde of YouTube films, and we have the, of course, the exodus of filmmaking in Los Angeles and the central hubs. Of course, Netflix building their Giga studio on in New Jersey. Things are moving fast and quickly, and the indie market, of course, is starting to become more and more desirable for new projects, of course. But at the end of the day, it's all boils back to our ethics in this industry too, and having a baseline of respect for one another and what we do. Producers as a whole, I empathize with everything that producers go, or if you are a producer in this industry and you are trying to get a project off the ground, I empathize deeply with what you have to go through, and I implore you, please do not give up on your projects. Please do not step aside, because you are the backbone of making it happen. You are the backbone of every decision that gets made on set. And it bothers me because I'm tired of seeing filmmakers give up on what they've went to school for, what they've given up so much for. And for me, ultimately, that's why Diamond Night Studios is so important, because at the end of the day, we all have to align with what we value. And I respect, what anybody chooses to do in the film industry, whatever l- background you come from, or what you choose to do with your with your perspective of what film should be. That I think in all realms should be respected, because that's why this medium is so great, because you can, as an audience member, it should be about understanding somebody's perspective, not pushing any political agendas, not trying to make anybody, um obviously the to on the top end, that falls apart for a lot of people. But um but it should be about giving a perspective that someone has never considered before. And that's why this is so important to me, because it gives not just me, but also, I hope to at some point get step back from the directing role, and allow people to come in and of course, within constraints of understanding that money is involved, everything like that within the structure, but allow them to tell their perspectives in a level of collaboration that ultimately benefits people as a whole. And maybe, like, I've never considered this side of this side of uh that type of person's life, or things like that. And producers, you have a major role in getting that done. And I just want to reiterate how important your role is, how important your role is to pushing the projects to getting done, how important your role is to, when things don't go right, to remember that you are what makes this move forward. And if everybody was to leave the project, you are the final spark that can make that project come back to life. That know that you should structure, and this is in my opinion, should structure your project, that if your main person that you needed on that project leaves, you have a means of rebuilding it from the ground up, because you are the ones who make this project happen. And I say that because that I say it from personal experience, because every time I get to the lower level where I'm like, this project isn't going to work out. This project isn't going to pan out the way it did. And this project didn't. The Hive specifically didn't. The beginning of this project was a completely different story from the one that it is now. But at the end of the day, it came back because I would not let this story die. I committed to the will that this project will come to life, and I will make it come to life no matter what happens. And I implore producers, please give give yourself the credit where it is due, and enough, and embody that spirit that you will finish this project. Speak it into existence that you will make this happen, regardless if actors leave, if crew leaves, if key roles leave. You will find somebody else. You will find a way to make it happen, even if it's you on set that has to um direct, or you have to do positions that and typically producers wouldn't have to do, but you will make it happen. And uh the need to getting to the destination has to be there. And I wanted to come on to online to say that, because now that the Hive is pushing into post production, now that we're getting past to the point of wrapping and making moves into the next film, and we're only going to get better and better. And I have no no anticipation on stopping, and getting better, and becoming stronger, and becoming an inspiration, hopefully for other production companies to keep doing daring and risking things. That's what, in my opinion, why the film industry is so important to me, because I learned at a young age the ideal of living to something bigger than yourself, and why. And I think that's a reason why a lot of people do film, because it isn't just about me. It isn't just about you know the director. It's about something that's so much bigger than one person, and regardless if that one person has to do multiple roles, at the end of the day, it's a collaboration between people. And this industry is not dead, and we're going to um a lot of people are going to bring this industry back to life, and there's going to be a restructure, and there's going to be new a new a new generation of film. And however that comes about, I'm not even going to pretend like I know exactly. I'm not by any means telling the future, but you can sense that the old channels are no longer working, and that there's an avant-garde of something new that has to come from film. And I think a lot of it starts with producers. So producers, whoever you are, whether you are working on a small project right now, working on a proof of concept, a feature, I hope you can just get some value from this, and understand that um, your will to get it done is what will get it done. And if you can find that will, and just take the next step when things aren't going right, when you think that this project isn't worth continuing anymore, and that you're on your last step with it, um, find the will to take the next step, and you'd be surprised how much works itself out. But in any case, that's the topic I wanted to come on and talk. I know it's been a minute again since I've been able to come on and actually give a little spiel on some things, and I hope to do it more, because of course this channel slowly but surely growing. But of course, Diamond Eye Studios have responsibilities to keeping this project moving. Um, yeah, we'll give you some insight on the Death and the Maiden, that project. I'm excited for it, because we're planning to make some big moves with this, particularly in shooting locations, and you know um, it's a period piece. It's designed to be a period piece, uh, based upon Arthurian. An Arthurian tale. Of course, if you're familiar with things like King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table. The Hive ultimately for me was a test to see what it takes to get a film done, and what it takes to understand the every part of the moving of the moving um, machine that makes a film come to life. And ultimately, the Death and the Maiden is going to be a test of how far we can take that. So one philosophy, or one method, I believe, is that um, learning how to do more with less allows you to do more with more. And um, specifically for this project, with it the scale being so big, understanding that how to work with a small crew allows you to how you can do more with a small crew would allow for a bigger concept like this to work in some circumstances. So, like for example, some locations we're looking into are not in the United States, which of course at this point in indie film, it's really hard to get a massive crew out to sets like that. So, how to make things work with 5 to 8 people, and if we are going to do that, and we're going to get those people to those locations, how are we going to make that work? And that includes me as a producer. How am I going to be involved? Whether that's going to be, whatever, picking up, doing grip work if necessary, and getting basically getting the shots that we need done. And a lot of the things in the Hive has taught me that. Our first shoot, I don't remember how many shots our first shoot was, but there was a lot of things that were inefficient on set. And then our second shoot, I'm very thankful to the DP that we had on our first shoot, because he, taught me a lot about how the shot list works. And in our second shoot, now I was able to get how many shots? 18 of our 20, no, 16 of our 18 shots in 8 hours. And I was really impressed with the level of what we were able to get done. Now, there's a lot of intention, specifically in the writing of the script, that led to that too. But by no means what I say. I mean, we there were only a couple of shots that unfortunately we weren't able to pick up, but they weren't major shots that didn't allow us to get coverage. And we got the basis of what we needed to be done. Now, of course, it's not perfect, and obviously dealing with a budget that isn't ideal, it's not going to be perfect. But I think, like I said, there is value in learning to do more with less. And just because you have a low budget does not mean that you can't film. Obviously, you should do everything you can to try to pay your crew members and yada yada yada, things of that nature. I take payment of crew members very seriously. As much as, like I said, being honest about it, negotiating it, and to a way that it's not feeling like a level of any level of exploitation or anything like that. Being fair with your rates that you offer, working with what you have. If you can't afford, a top level DP, then working with what you can afford to level do, and then not being afraid to do the work yourself where you can do the work, because that is honestly probably going to be where you save the most money. Is understanding that yes, there are traditional roles, but if you do not have the ideal budget, it is okay to do unorthodox, to find unorthodox methods to make things work. Now, I'm not saying cut corners or cut pay where you can, but if you are on set and you can't afford to have a second grip, then don't be afraid to get into the grime work, and to be a grip on set. I mean, like I said, that's what I mean about living for the big picture, and understanding that what the work you do like that contributes to the production getting done. And yeah, so going back to what I was saying before that, sorry, I keep going off on some side trails, but what was I saying before that? Backtracking, um, getting the oh yeah, doing more with less. So yeah, understanding the importance of doing more or less, with doing more with less of a crew. Uh, excuse me. Understanding that you don't necessarily need an Ari Alexa to get a production done. Working with a smaller camera, and I typically try not to go in terms of resolution below 4K. Obviously, we have films that working in 6K, 8K, all the fancy stuff. And I think all those things will come. All those things of working with bigger crews, with bigger, better equipment, all those things specifically for Diamond Eye Studios, I believe that they will come. But learning to do more with less and understanding that just because you have less, that does not mean that your production cannot run, um, is so valuable in the beginning, because you learn that, you know, or at least for me, I'm learning that that ultimately it's about the story, and that's why, you know, it's so important to learn to do more with less, because at the end of the day, nobody is going to, I don't, or at least in my opinion, I mean, obviously, people who know film will probably judge you for the camera or the lens that you use, but how does that get? People get so caught into the details that they forget the bigger picture. The bigger picture is how the film makes people feel, and if you understand that, and if you find a way to make your budget work within those constraints, you could possibly make it. Now, I mean, obviously, 2,000 is a bit of a stretch, especially with trying to pay people. But you know, you can make it, things happen with a lot less than you think you need. Um, I think that's very, very important. And that I say that going into the Death and the Maiden, because you know, we're talking about a period piece, that's for in the Middle Ages. So we're talking about things like, like I said, Arthurian tales with swords, knights, stuff like that. Uh, Granted, it would be nice if we could have a full, cast, but I mean, I'm learning to make things work with four people, right? So I mean, the Hive, that's what it turned into. It turned into a cast of 15 into a cast of four. And ultimately, our work is, again, for proof of concepts, for franchise potential, but yeah, telling enough of the story so that people get the point, and then, you know, if they choose to make a feature out of as an extension of the original story, they can totally do that. But yeah, learning to do more with less is really, really important. I think a lot of producers, it's really, really important that we, learn how to do that, and how to, to make things happen with less resources, and so that when we get more resources, at the end of the day, we can make, making a $5,000 budget film look like a $40,000 budget film, or $60,000 budget film. The business, obviously, investors are going to want to get a return on what they can do, and if you can learn how to, and that's what I'm learning to do. I haven't perfected it yet, but that's what I'm learning how to do, is to make things work more with less. I believe where careers start getting, because obviously, these big studios, they want to make money, and this industry runs on money. To a degree, I think there's an issue with being obsessed with getting as much money as you can. But I mean, the reality of the situation is that yes, these things run on money, and a big executive producer has the chance of taking a big hit on a film, on investing on a film that may not make money back. So I my goal ultimately as a producer is learning how to do more with less, so that if an investor trusts me with that level of responsibility, I treat that money as if it's my own money, and we're gonna make it happen. Not like I said, not cutting corners, but make it happen. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming with the Death and the Mating. I'm really excited for that film, as we're going through development, or get it in development. And there's another film that we're kind of putting in. Um, I don't want to mention it yet. We'll mention it when we get closer towards the end of the Hive. But I'm viewing it as a commission piece, specifically because I don't usually work with dramas, because the drama market right now isn't that favorable, especially if you don't have like a name listed actor. Um, but this one the one that we're looking to do for after the Death and the Mating is more than likely going to be a drama, or the commission piece is going to more than likely be a drama. And But yeah, the Death and the Maiden is going to be a big story, and I'm excited to bring that to fruition, and to ultimately get the Hive up and off the ground, and done by September. So of course, like I said, I'm going to do my best to try to get on here more and talk more, and let you know how things are going with the Hive, with Diamond Night Studios, and there have been some rocky moments, but things are starting to get better, and they will continue to get better, and we'll continue to get where we need to be. So again, producers, please continue to find the will to keep your projects going. Learn to be conservative with your projects where you can be, but not to be so callous that you don't care about things anymore. Um, but uh, but yeah, I just want to come on here because I believe that is an important topic for me, and I hope it helps a lot of you producers keep going. And yeah, enjoy filmmaking, and let's get some projects done. So I'll see you guys on the next stream, and yeah, happy filmmaking, and take care of yourselves.